these children attack their own peers and classmates in their own schools and in other educational institutions.
Nicholas Cruz took an Uber to the school at 2:19 p.m. just as the teachers and students were getting ready for dismissal, carrying his rifle in a black soft case. Cruz fired into 5 classrooms, then dropped the gun and ran out to the door.
The suspect crossed fields and ran west, along with others.
America, here we are again. This is not a new nightmare, it is a recurring one. Another mass shooting, this time in Texas. At least 19 children murdered, shot dead with a high-powered rifle. 2 teachers also killed. An elementary school turned...
The school today found close to 30 explosive devices all around the building. Authorities have also revised the death toll, now saying 15 people were killed, including the 2 gunmen. Most of the bodies are still inside the school, but families of the murdered...
Empowered by young people, demanding the country's leaders take action after yet another school shooting, a horrific massacre in Uvalde, Texas.
Let's take some time to think about who these children are. What drove them to it? How can we be aware, recognize, and then help these teenagers so they don't commit these horrific attacks? I'm Elisabeth, a clinical psychologist working with children and adolescents. The most common reason that children decide to attack others is because they have experienced bullying, abuse, and other mistreatment at school. Why do we keep talking about bullying? Of course, bullying has always existed in schools, in our childhoods, and in those of our parents. But now, this type of activity has become more widespread and more cruel. And our schools and institutions, which should be connecting our kids and uniting them, have become places of high competition, in which children need to prove themselves to each other, and children, as a rule, often turn to force to accomplish this. Using bullying, force, and harassment, bullying has become more advanced. Children film their bullying and post it online. In this way, they set an example for other children. Victims do not know how to cope with the humiliation that they are subjected to at school. After some time has passed, a desire to get back to the offender and take revenge is formed. Often they specifically want to inflict physical pain. Unfortunately, parents do not always have a good relationship with their child, so the child won't immediately come and tell them directly about what is happening at school. If someone is calling them names, beating them up, or humiliating them, or hurting them in other ways. So the child starts looking for community online. Teenagers on the internet tend to unite in groups according to their interests, where they can feel heard, where they can find help or advice, or they will be encouraged to various kinds of aggressive actions. School shootings are a way for a child to express themselves very loudly, especially if the teachers themselves never stood up for or helped the child. The parents often either did not care, did not pay close attention, or were not a good support for their child. Most often, if you look at the history of children who have already committed attacks or were preparing for such attacks, all their parents say that they have wonderful children with whom they never had any trouble. They just lived their own lives.
The cruel behavior that defined the end of his life showed me that he was a completely different person from the one I knew. Afterwards, people asked, "How could you not know? What kind of a mother were you?"
And then it comes to light that the child had so many interesting plans, and in some strange way, his actions were a kind of protection, some kind of protest, or a way to show himself. Unfortunately, parents do not always have a good relationship with their child, so the child won't immediately come and tell them directly about what's happening at school if someone is calling them names, beating them up, or humiliating them or hurting them in other ways. If having open conversations was not the norm in your family, and your child never came to you with their worries or feelings, then the likelihood he will come and tell you about his problems when he's an adolescent is quite small. And here it is your observations as a parent. and your knowledge of your child that can help you catch if something is happening to your child in time. For example, a common behavior marker may be that your child does not want to go to school, they have lost their appetite or are often sad, unsociable, or withdrawn. They are spending a lot of time on the internet. They either have no friends or have stopped communicating with the friends that they do have. These are behavioral markers. Pay attention to their words. Children may say phrases such as, "Everything pisses me off," "so that everyone dies," "I want to die," or "life is terrible." Any such phrases with a dark or depressing context indicate that your child is experiencing problems. The verbal markers can be found in the expressions, "Life is unfair," "Why was I born anyway?" "No one loves me," "No one understands me," or "No one needs me." If these words and expressions slip through when a child is talking with you, this is an occasion to take a closer look and really listen to your child. Try sitting down to talk with your child. Maybe visit a family therapist. If it's a family norm to share how your day went, to share your worries, your emotions. For example, if as parents you can talk about your problems at work and discuss your own feelings, whether they are positive or negative, then it will be much easier for your child to talk about his own feelings, about how his day went, what he did not like, or what was hard in his own life. If you do not share your own emotions and feelings with your child, if your main concern as a parent is to ensure that he is fed, dressed, gets enough sleep, and gets to school on time, then most likely your child will not share his own worries or feelings with you. You must teach him to talk and share with you, to go through hard things with your help, to trust you. A child learns to be vulnerable when he's taught to be vulnerable. This includes sharing about your feelings, and the sooner, I'll say it again, that you'll begin to discuss your child's feelings with him, his emotions, how his day went, what he liked, what he did not like, and accept everything, what happened during his day, his worries as valuable concerns. If your child can understand that his parents care about what happened to him, whether it was good or bad, whether he did right or wrong, that his parents want to know about these experiences and won't judge him for them, then it will be easier for a child to share what has happened to them with everyone. And at an older age, if you notice that your child's behavior has changed and you can't get him to talk or share in any way, he has closed himself off and is not responding to all your attempts to talk to him, the Find My Kids application can help you. If you install this application on your smartphone and connect it to your child's phone, you will be able to know how much time the child spends on the internet. Because if your child spends a lot of time on the internet after 12 at night and is not sleeping at night, this is also the first sign that something might be happening. According to statistics, adolescents that are prone to violence rarely sleep at night. This is an occasion to think and take some sort of action. In addition to bullying, one can also single out the popularization and the romanticization of heroes as a further reason for school shootings. These heroes are the students who attack their pre's and schools. Since the media is now talking a lot about this, it is a topic on talk shows, there are films about it, this topic has become very popular. It's being promoted. The children who carry out these attacks become heroes and sometimes even teen idols. Our children need someone to imitate. Our children want to be like other people. At a certain age, we typically begin to form idols for ourselves. There used to be a lot of works in which there were teenagers who were real heroes, who helped others, saved the world. What do we have now? Now there is a lot of propaganda about teenagers who commit any illegal actions or violence. Our kids have nothing else to rely on other than what they can see on television, the internet infection, and on social media. You as parents should notice what your children are wearing, who they are trying to imitate. What songs and music are they listening to? What is the content of the music? Listen to what your children are listening to. Talk about what attracts them in this, and no matter what thoughts a teenager has, no matter how romantic their inclinations are, the most important thing is to stress to your child that human life is priceless, and that no matter what happens to your children or teenager, it is never their right or decision to choose if someone should be allowed to live or not. Another one of the reasons for school shootings can be called the desire of children to go against the system. To express your protest, it's very in the moment, the fact that you are not like everyone and against everyone. Go against the rules, against the system, and kids these days want this to be the image that they are presenting. But most importantly, children want to be accepted. At first, they start going against the system with absolutely harmless things. They pierce their earlobes, pierce their nose, dye their hair bright colors. If those things are somehow forbidden or stopped, this creates the desire to go further. Keep going against the system, keep protesting, keep doing some unusual, uncommon, and visible. Often this is another way that children choose to commit suicide. And we can't forget about this either. The fact that children chose this way to commit suicide through the public killing of others. Another one of the causes behind school shootings can be mental disorders. This is not the case for all children, but it was noticed that some of the children suffered from certain mental disorders. This must also be considered. These disorders should be caught in time, diagnosed, helped, and treated. But that is its own topic, and it's quite deep and complex, and is more connected with psychiatry. So to sum up, we can highlight a few specific points about what parents should do to help prevent such attacks. Pay attention to your child, observe your children, communicate with your children, and accept your kids just as they are, with all that comes with them, with all the information, all the desires, and all the feelings that they have. Spend time with your children and understand that a 14-year-old is not an adult child. They are simply a child, and they also need their mom, dad, and grandparents. They need a family. Teens need close, empathic people, no less. And sometimes even more than when they were 5, 6, or 7 years old. The older the child, the more he needs a family. The main thing to remember is that without a reason, no children will find a weapon and take it to school or college or to their friends at a party. You need to understand that this is preceded by certain events in the life of the child. And your task as a parent is to notice if something is happening in the life of your child before things get worse, so that they never feel that the only way to be seen or heard is to use weapons. So how close and trusting of a relationship do you have with your child? Let's discuss it in the comments. Also, if you have any questions, fears, or anxieties about this topic, write to us in the comments. We'd be happy to discuss everything with you.